From a queer western that will tear you up to a murder mystery that'll keep you up at night, Pedro Pascal is planning on taking Hollywood by storm. So grab your sandwich and munch on it Pascal style as I walk you through his exciting future projects, starting with Strange Way of Life. I have good news. The prayer circles worked, y'all. We're getting a Pedro Pascal movie. And sharing the screen with the internet's favorite meme king will be Ethan Hawke. How cool is that? Directed by Pedro Almodovar, this story will have everything you'd expect in a Western. Ranches, gunslingers, and cowboy hats. And it will also revolve around men and masculinity. But as Almodovar explained, it will portray masculinity in a different light, where the characters have an emotional dialogue and deep connection. So what really is the story? It's hard to say, because everybody from the cast to the director is doing an offensively good job of keeping everything undercover. All there is to know so far is that our protagonist, Silva, played by Pascal, one day decides to ride his horse across the desert to see his old friend, Sheriff Jake, portrayed by Hawke, who he hasn't seen in 25 years. Now, the fans are sure that these two are just friends, or if there's more to their connection. But what's interesting is that Silva's reason for this sudden reunion is not just to catch up with his friend and reminisce over the past. He's there to tell him something else. And that's just about all the beans that the creators are ready to spill. But the fans have put on their sleuthing hats and are speculating that Silva turns up at Sheriff Jake's to help him cover up a crime. I don't know about you, but I'm already sold. But let's not get ahead of ourselves just yet, because there's good news and there's bad news. Let's do the bad news first. It's a short film. Yep, we're getting a romance film with Pedro Pascal and Ethan Hawke that will last 30 minutes tops. That's just cruel, honestly. It's especially bad when you consider that it's going to be an incredibly moving, possibly even tear-jerking, nay, sob-inducing movie. That's because the title of the film is taken from a Portuguese song that's famous for being very sad. The film is also said to be Almodovar's answer to 2005's Brokeback Mountain. And the real ones know how bad that film hurt. I mean, I still haven't moved on from the "I swear, Jack" moment. Fans wanted that film to be even longer than its 2 hours and 14 minutes, and here Almodovar is expecting us to be okay with just 30 minutes, with a story that most probably will be one of the most heartwarming queer ones out there. But before everyone gets too upset, I'll move on to the good news. Strange Way of Life will grace your screens in 2023. The film is ready to premiere at this year's Cannes Film Festival in May. But this might be the only new Pascal project that you'll get to see this year, because the others are still in the making. Looking at you, Tropico. The news about this thriller first came out in 2019, and everything's been suspiciously quiet after that. But now that Pedro Pascal owns the internet, people are talking about it. And, well, it looks like the Last of Us star is looking to test his range as an actor, because all his roles are so different from each other. In this one, Tropico, you'll see him as a rich businessman, Mark, living in Brazil, hopefully without the yellow-filtered cinematography, though. Joining Pascal in the cast is Willem Dafoe, who will be something of a spy himself in this film. Dafoe's character, Raymond, is hired to spy on Mark for some reason, but things get weird because while doing his job, Raymond gets distracted. He falls in love with none other than Mark's wife. The plot only thickens from here because the businessman's wife also has an identical twin. So he's not in love with one, but two women at once. These women will be played by the same actress, Morena Baccarin. This one will be packed with action, suspense, and clearly some very twisted love stories. Now, the release date for this movie is still unknown, but considering it's still in the pre-production stages, there's no doubt we'll have to wait for ages for this one to come out. And it's not even the only Pascal thriller cooking up in the pre-production stages. My Dentist's Murder Trial is also on the way. All right, we've seen queer Pedro, businessman Pedro. Now meet murderer Pedro, or convicted murderer at the very least. For all the true crime enthusiasts out there, this one's for you. Better yet, it's a show that'll stream on HBO. Based on a true story, this story will revolve around a dentist and his affair with his female patient. This dentist, portrayed by Pascal, falls in love with her and tries to convince her to leave her husband, which she doesn't. Then, sometime later, her husband is found dead, murdered. The obsessive dentist denies killing the husband in question, but what's interesting is that he was poisoned using a chemical that's specifically used by dentists and doctors. Yep, not looking so good for Pascal's character here, is it? The show will tell the story of the entire trial, and of course it won't be exactly based on the true case. There will be stuff added to make it more suitable for the screen. Another piece of great news is that David Harbour also stars in that show, although it's not been revealed who he'll play. Well, Jim Hopper and Joel Miller in the same show? Sign me up! Now that's all cool, but there's something about Pedro's face and personality that begs to be a light, fluffy, feel-good movie, no? Good thing Nadia Connors knew just that, and she's giving us The Uninvited. When a renowned documentary filmmaker like Connors decides to make an ensemble film, you know it's going to be good. With Pedro Pascal, Walter Goggins, Elizabeth Reeser, and Lois Smith in the cast, this film's main focus will be a party that gets interrupted and destroyed by an uninvited surprise guest. What follows this is drama and comedy. Old stories, long-forgotten secrets, everything comes up. That's about everything the tight-lipped filmmakers have let out. I can almost smell the masterpiece it's going to be, can you? Now, once again, the release date for this comedy is undisclosed, but the good news is that the film's production started a while ago, so it can't take too long. Some sources have a projected 2023 release date. Let's hope that's true. But even if it's not, there's no way the release will be any later than 2024. And even if it is, the wait won't be so difficult because we'll have another Pascal film by then, Freaky Tales. Here's yet another Project Pedro whose plot details have been kept fairly secret. But from the little that's known, one thing's for sure. This film, directed by Anna Boden and Ryan Fleck, is going to be a wild ride. Freaky Tales is going to be a drama film that will tell the stories of multiple different people at once, interconnected in one way or another. Set in 1987 in Oakland and is inspired by Ryan Fleck's own childhood, it will tell the story of four very different people experiencing the historic events in Oakland, each in their own way. These four people will be played by Pascal, Jack Champion, Ben Mendelsohn, and Jay Ellis. And the best part is that the filming part is already over. Freaky Tales is in post-production as of now, but a release date has not been confirmed yet. But yeah, if they're that far into production, it should be out around early 2024 max. Don't you kind of want to binge all the upcoming stuff at once right now? Anyway, those were all the upcoming Pedro Pascal projects you can be excited about.